Welcome to Winchester, a city that somehow managed to feel both ancient and effortlessly alive. You can wander past a cathedral that's been standing for, nearly 1,000 years, duck under medieval archways, grab a coffee on High Street, buy a book from an honesty box, visit the last places lived by famous authors, and then suddenly find yourself in a quiet of water meadows, these streams just flowing right through town with wonderful, comfortable parks around them. It's a place where England's story isn't locked behind some museum glass. It's right here in the streets, some of which were made by the Romans, in the stones and in everyday rhythm of the city. And this video is going to dive into all of it, a good much of it, and keep watching. And here we begin the day in Winchester, and we're in Hampshire, England, and I'm on this river, and that's a dove, or a pigeon rather. Hello. And up at the other end of this stream/river, we have a mill, which is pretty famous. So that gushing and rushing water is where the water goes into a mill. So that is a mill from 1744, part of the National Trust now. So they do get days off, and today is one of their days off. So whop whop. And we're going to walk along here again. This is the Weir. W-E-I-R. So this area is called the Weirs. Known for, there's the iconic bridge there. So the mill is just on the other side of the bridge. Pardon a lawnmower. At least it's not a leaf blower. Still in the Weirs, part of. And there's a magpie in a tree over there. Shows the only visible section of the Roman wall from 3rd century AD. Here is King Alfred, fighter of Vikings, founder of Winchester. Thanks for having us over. And there's High Street, and this is the oldest high street in England, in the UK. So, and there's some of the things we see. City clock. Now to see if I can fit through that wee hole. It's not a very big hole. I hear someone coming up. Let's get a perspective of size. We want to see how. So remember, Carolyn is 6'2", so she can almost touch. Stand next to the door. So.
4'11".
So turn around. So she's 6'2", so that door is about 5'10". Actually, she's not 6'2". So I'm gonna have to duck to go through there. Winchester. So here's the west gate of Winchester, looking right down High Street. Walking through the King's Gate, and something we found here yesterday at night. It's quite remarkable. You know those honesty boxes where you put some money in and take away some cheese or something? That's a nice painting. This is an honesty box for books. So you take a book and you pay for it with the QR code. On the western edge of Winchester, rising above the old city walls, stands a survivor. A single hall, all that remains of a once vast royal castle. For more than 7 centuries, this place has watched kings rise, kingdoms fall, and legends take root. The Great Hall of Winchester Castle is one of the finest surviving medieval halls in England. Built in the early, 1200s under King Henry VIII, it was designed to impress, a stage for royal justice, feasts, and political theater. Now look around. Every stone here was placed with intention and purpose. The soaring arcades, the tall lancet windows, the rhythm of light and shadow, this was medieval power expressed through architecture. a hall meant to make you feel tiny, to make you feel small, and the crown impossibly large. The round table, look on the wall there. I don't know if you've seen a few pictures of that or scenes of that as the camera was panning. And then there's the legend. Hanging on the far wall is the so-called round table, a Tudor creation, yes, but painted with the myth of Arthur, the king who ruled with honor and equality. Henry VIII had it repainted, placing himself, naturally, at the top. Even legends, it seems, can be rewritten. And rewritten again when the parliamentarian took control of the castle. They had weapons by then, and they used poor old Henry VIII's face as target practice, and they're apparently a good shot. So they have restored it to look more like what they think King Arthur looked like. This hall has seen trials, banquets, councils of war, and even more recently, weddings. It survived the English Civil War when the rest of the castle was destroyed. It endured centuries of change, yet remained standing, a witness to England's unfolding story. Today the Great Hall is quiet, except for the tourists like me, but listen closely, and you can still feel the weight of history, the footsteps of kings, the murmur of courtiers, the myths that shape a nation. Winchester's Great Hall isn't just a building, it's a memory, and it's carved in stone. And as you exit and you walk back into the sunlight through the gift shop, you carry a piece of that memory with you because you bought it. A reminder that some stories never fade, but that tea towel or keychain you bought will live forever. Where we find the round table. Yes, the round table. So it's folklore and tradition all blended together. So in the middle there is the rose of King Henry VIII, who was quite fascinated, thought of himself as many things, including the heir to King Arthur. There's King Arthur on his throne in the middle. Alright, so here we are at the round table. Again, here's his Knights of the Round Table going around. Pick your favorite. It's resided in this. So it's not the actual round table, but it's still been here for 700 years. So the wood dates to 1250 to 1280, so it's still very old. Henry VIII requested the table be painted following his visit to Winchester in 1516, where he put his Tudor rose in the middle. Some more factoids. In the late 15th century, Thomas Malory created the image of Camelot most familiar today in his work La Morte d'Arthur. Malory's identification of Camelot as Winchester was probably inspired by it being the capital of Wessex and by the presence of the round table we see here today, now known to date from the 13th century, but which was widely believed in Malory's time to be the original, and dating from the 6th century when King Arthur was believed to have lived. The city of Camelot is depicted as standing along a river, surrounded by plains and forests, with a magnificent cathedral, St. Stephen's, where Arthur and Guinevere are married. In the mighty castle stands the round table where knights see a vision of the Holy Grail and swear to find it. Many other places in England and Wales also claim to be Camelot. Winchester Cathedral rises like a stone ship anchored in the heart of the city, a place where nearly 1,000 years of English history still breathe in the quiet air. Step inside and the world changes. Light from the sun filters through ancient glass, settling upon pillars that have stood since the Norman kings. This is one of the longest naves in Europe, a corridor of faith stretching forward like an invitation. And then notice the stained glass. Some of the images in the stained glass are obvious, but most of it is a seemingly cacophonous mosaic of colors. That's because someone knocked them all out, and then the devotees just put them in a magical sort of array of matching colors. It's quite interesting. And then looking at the stone, every arch, every rib, every carved detail tells a story of devotion and craftsmanship. The early Norman stonework still anchors the cathedral's bones, while the soaring Gothic vaults lift your eyes and your imagination toward heaven. In the side chapel, centuries of prayer linger like a soft echo. Here, kings, bishops, and soldiers, and ordinary citizens like you and me, all found a place to be remembered or do the remembering. Winchester is not just a cathedral, it's a ledger of lives lived. Below is a part we didn't see. There's a crypt, a place where water and silence meet. It's quite exotic. In winter, the floor floods, turning the space into a mirror of stillness. There's a solitary statue of a man holding a bowl. Feels something timeless, as if waiting for an answer that only the cathedral can give. Now, the water in that area has a significance. This cathedral, as large as it is, was sinking in the mud, and one fellow, a long time ago, wearing old-fashioned scuba gear, carried single bags of cement down to shore up the foundation, and they have a pub across the street in his honor. Back in the main part of the cathedral, there's a tomb, a particular note, for one Jane Austen. In a quiet corner on the north aisle lies Jane Austen. Her memorial is modest, almost understated, and the original one doesn't mention a thing about her being an author. Yet, in spite of that, her words have traveled farther than any king's decree, and Winchester holds her final chapter. We got lucky there, and there was an organ concert going on because music has filled this space for literally centuries, from medieval plainsong to modern choral harmonies featuring that organ. The cathedral has always been alive with sound, a reminder that beauty is a form of worship. When you leave Winchester Cathedral, you carry more than a memory, more than the pictures on your camera. You carry the weight of centuries, the quiet strength of a place built to endure, to inspire, and to remind us that some stories are written not just in ink, not just on an audio podcast, not just on a vlog, but sometimes in stone. Okay, we're walking down this very shaded path next to the cemetery and the people picnicking because nobody has an air con here, so everybody's outside. Yeah. Okay, funny story. I decided to lay down myself next to one of these tombstones in the shade, and somebody came up and their dog did its duty next to me, and he was very apologetic, as the English are. And I said, "Hey, I'm just laying here in a cemetery, resting in peace. I'm just glad you're still talking to me, because the next time I'm laying down in a cemetery, you'll probably scream if I talk to you." cooling off among the dead. But so at the end of this walkway is the cathedral with the longest nave. And the nave is that central part of the cross form that the church makes up. So this is Winchester Cathedral. Many fascinating things about that, and I will recite them as we go in. So here it is, Winchester Cathedral. See how long that nave is? So this is the nave part here. Now we're heading in there because we need a little bite to eat because we have plans for high tea this afternoon.
Do you want matcha if you want?
We will come back here at 4:30 for a organ concert. So there's the Winchester Cathedral milk truck. Quite grand. And there's Winchester once again. To give you some details, this was built in a year with a number. Yes. Well, to my left, just over this wall on the left, is Jane Austen's last residence. And inside this building is her current residence. Because this is the Cathedral of Winchester. And this is the short end. The long end of the church is on the other side. So this is the the head part of it. Now notice the stained glass is not colored in such as many stained glasses are with roses and depictions. Well, there is that one up on the left. And the capstone of each one seems to be formatted, but these were all knocked out by a competing some organization. And then they decided to put them back in this mosaic that we have now. Here in Winchester is buried someone whose name you may recognize. And I'm approaching her right now. Oops, I gave it away. There it is. Jane Austen. Now notice as I read this, youngest daughter of the late Reverend George Austen, and it's because he was a reverend she was able to be buried here. But nothing on there says anything about her being a writer. So many years later, where these flowers are, and where her silhouette is. If you wander into the north aisle, where I am here, of Winchester Cathedral, you'll find something quietly powerful, the final resting place of the Jane Austen. Her original grave is simple, almost understated, and it never mentions her writings at all. After all, she was just a woman, right? Wink, wink. That came later, when people realized just how much her stories meant to the world. A brass plaque was added in 1900, finally acknowledging the novels that made her famous, and just above it, a memorial window from 1910 with a small tablet that begins, "Known to many by her writings." It's a gentle reminder that the woman who wrote with such wit and insight lived a life of quiet strength. Standing here, you feel the weight of her legacy, not loud, not grand, but deeply human. Winchester is a city that wears its history lightly. But for Jane Austen, it was the final chapter of a life spent observing the world with uncommon clarity, and she died and lived her last days in this building in 1817. Books and reading don't stop with Jane Austen. It seems no matter where you go, someone wants you to get a book and read it. So do. There are plenty of bookshops, all with inspiring titles, so yes, judge a book by the cover, open it up and prove it wrong. Or right. They all look interesting.